beautiful snowy morning here this morning, early April, and getting ready to head over to the Garden of the Gods. The snow from last night stuck to the trees, and it looks like the sky is clearing, so sun's getting ready to rise. So I'm gonna head over there now. I've got the car fired up and warming up, and the garden's just right over there, so don't have far to go. So hopefully get a good morning shoot here with some spring snow. But I think I'm going to try a spot that's kind of more on the southern edge of the park and looking up towards the north. It's a view I don't photograph much, but boy, the rocks are just covered in snow this morning. You can see out the window there, so might find some really good stuff on this, looking up this direction for a change. So I want to mix it up and do something a little different, but getting some pink in the sky, so it's time to get out there. All right, got a momentary break in the action here. As is always the case in landscape photography, once the sun starts coming up, the light is looking good, you got to work fast, and wasn't any time to stop and film myself, but I've found a nice spot over here that maybe you can kind of see. I'm looking through the trees at some rock formations back there, and the clouds have kind of moved in right now, so they're a little bit shaded. I might try a couple more shots of that, but got some nice stuff this morning, as with the morning light on the snow on the rocks is just stunning. So it's one of my favorite things. So I think got some nice stuff, some little bit different. I'm working kind of a different part of the park than I normally do. So it's something I found. It's always good to, you know, a familiar place like this, try a different area. You know, I might have gotten something nice with the peak, Pikes Peak, popping out of the clouds. I wasn't expecting it to, so I had kind of written off that angle, but you know, it did. But I've gotten that image so many times that I think it's all right for me to work a different part of the park and get some fresh images. So that's always a nice thing. So anyway, gonna try a little bit more here if the sun pops back out, and then I'll head home and see what I've got. I forgot to mention that I'm using my little travel tripod, not my normal rig, but my big tripod. The leg actually came off just as the sun was really lighting up the clouds, and had to get back to the car really quick. I was luckily only, you know, a few feet away, but get the travel tripod out and using that one this morning. So that was going to be my selfie stick, using the Benro, you know, travel tripod has that capability, switching that out, but instead it's having to be my main tripod this morning. It's doing well. It's lighter weight, but you know, that's a travel tripod, so there's always a trade-off with that. I've got a video where I took a look at that tripod soon after I first got it, and did a little overview of that tripod. So if you haven't seen that video, check it out. But anyway, it looks like the sun's going to pop back out on those rocks here any moment. Actually, it's just starting to, so you can kind of see it in the background behind me. So it's just about go time, so we'll see what I can get here. So it ended up being an expensive morning for me shooting. First off, the Soray carbon fiber tripod. Here's the leg that popped right off of that. So if anybody has any ideas of how to repair something like that, please put it in the comments. I thought I had it fixed. It's happened a couple times before, but apparently not. So maybe in the market for another carbon fiber tripod. And then one of the rubber feet from my little Benro came off in the snow, and of course it's gone. Checked online, 25 bucks. You need to buy the whole set because each one is kind of specialized, so they sell it as a set. So about 25 bucks, but then with shipping and tax, came up close to $45. So I may have to bite the bullet on that one too. So Anyway, expensive morning for me. Not my day for tripods. The images opened up in Lightroom from yesterday's photo shoot, and overall I was really pleased. I've already been through a number of these and done some color and contrast corrections, but I just want to show you what I found and a little bit of how I worked through some of these in a couple of different ways. So you can see the starting ones here, especially this deer was just was hanging out right there. And while not normally, I'm not normally a wildlife shooter. I mean, when the wildlife is just standing there and, I could have almost reached out and touched it a couple of times. I mean, yeah, I'm definitely going to use that. And especially, it was just as I got out of the car, the sun was lighting up these clouds in a really nice way. And I worked a couple of these images with the newest version of Lightroom with the updated masking feature. So I wanted to show you that. But first I want to scroll through and just look at some of the other images. And here's one that I worked. I just loved the color I was getting in the little bit of color in the sky, but mainly in the rock with the snow and the morning sun on there. It was just really a cool scene. And this is the version that I worked in Lightroom, and I'm pretty happy with it. But here is what I took it over into DXO Photolab 6, and here's what I came up with there. And I just really love. First off, I love the color in the rock is much more accurate to the actual rock color. But then just look at the sky, how well it pulled out the detail and the contrast in the sky. So that's, again, in DXO Photolab 6. I just did a video on that last week. So if you missed that, make sure and check that out. But here is what I did. I'll open it up here in DXO and I can show you what I did. And I think really where the magic was right here in the Clearview Plus, because when I tab that off, look at the difference. So it was really the Clearview Plus, I think, was part of the magic of this. And the great thing was I didn't do all that many moves to get to here. I did a couple of those sliders and a little bit of the tone curve, and bam, there it was. I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. So the DXO might be a keeper. I've got a few more days left on the trial, so we'll see. But I'll show you here with this Clearview Plus slider. I mean, you can see it. You can go way, in my taste anyway, way too far with it if you go all the way. And you can really dial in some nice tonalities there. I'm going to Command Z and just go back to what I had. But anyway, that was something I was really... that was a new discovery, and I was really thrilled with that. I've worked with the DXO a bit, but this was the first time it really just almost instantly just gave me results that I was really thrilled with. So maybe I'm beginning to get a feel for that software. Some more images we go down. So I really liked this scene here with trying to catch, get these cottonwood branches in here. This swirl of cottonwood branches and position the rocks down in there. And that was a fun image. I played with that for quite a while. And again, let me go to the full screen here. So this is what I had in Lightroom. And again, here was the DXO. And you just see the incredible, just the beautiful detail and sharpness it brought out in the rocks here. But then also just in these branches up here as well. And I know that this is, I can go back into Lightroom and mimic or, get much closer to some of the adjustments. Those were, a quick edits that I did in Lightroom and then took it over to DXO and did some quick edits. So I could refine the Lightroom ones, but the main thing for me is that I just found it so fast in the DXO. And also it's saved as a DNG file, so I can now do some other final edits in that in Lightroom. So the possibility of working with both is definitely much more real for me. So anyway, this scene, I like this first shot the best. It just got some nice dramatic contrast. Then as the sun started coming out, it got more blue sky in there. It's nice, but I think I liked the more dramatic feel of the earlier ones.
something else I wanted to point out. So you see this frame here with the 3 fingers in it. What I'm doing there is cueing myself that these 3 previous images are for a focus stack. So I focused on the branches and then a little further out and then the rocks. I found out that I really didn't need to do that with this image, and I was fine with the just the single exposure. And in fact, the light was changing so fast that it really worked out better to just do a single exposure. But I was experimenting with this as well, and so that's what the 3 fingers is about. So that's one of the techniques I use to kind of cue myself to go backwards a certain number of frames and stack those together, and for either a panoramic or focus stacking or something like that. So here we have them again, and this was all for focus stacking. So I think we might be able to see a little better in this one, but focused in here in the branches, and then a little further out, and then further out into the rocks. So again, I found that I really didn't need to do it, and the light was changing so fast. But anyway, you can see, was able to catch some nice different things. Here's a shot that I got on the way out of the park. These rocks are facing west, so obviously all in the shade, but I just loved the way the light was coming through and lighting up the trees and lighting up the clouds here on this right-hand side. Just some cool cloud formations in there. So anyway, was able to get that on the way out. So now back to the beginning with the deer. I want to show you a bit what I discovered with the new version of Lightroom, the new masking the masking capabilities in the latest version of Lightroom, and I think it's really exciting. And open this image in Develop. So now this is a version I worked a little bit with the color and the contrast. The sky was just getting really beautiful. Just, actually right off the bat, this was one of the early shots of the morning. In fact, right after I got out of the car. So the sky was really nice, but the deer, for my taste, is just a bit dark. He's just kind of a little dark and muddy down there. So I was able to go in with the new quick masking tools in Lightroom, and this is what I was able to do with the deer, and then also the sky as well. Just get a little more fine-tune the color and the contrast that I like in the sky. So again, I'll take it back to this one, and we can take a look at what I did with that. So I'm going to move my face down here. Never can find the right spot for that. All right. So come into the masking tool, and you have kind of a new dialog here. Subject, sky, background. I actually chose objects. So it's a new objects masking in Lightroom. So I'm going to make the brush just a tiny bit smaller here, and then just do a rough paint over the deer. Give it a few moments, and voila, a really nice selection of the deer. So then I could come in here and do a little work with shadows. So bring up those shadows a bit. I like to keep the moves here pretty minor, just to keep a realistic look. It's easy to go too far and it starts becoming unrealistic, but something like that. So just helps that deer pop out of there a little bit. And then what I did, here I'll show you the before and after before I move on here. Oops. So there's before, there's after. So just a real nice way to go in and select that deer. And it does a great job. And then the other thing I tried out with this, I created a new mask and select sky. So now select sky has been in Lightroom for a bit, but it seems like this version is more refined. And I didn't initially, but I'm beginning to like now the way that you can see how the mask doesn't really end cleanly at the edge of the rock or the horizon over here. There's a bit of bleed in there. And what I found that is really nice. It feathers in really nicely. So now as I go in and I do a little work with contrast, did a little bit of move with highlights. and pull the brightest whites up a little bit. And there we go. So now as I do that work there, the thing that the mask really does a good job with is I just don't get that white halo around the edge of objects that you'll get if you if you have the selection that goes right to the edge and it's not feathered enough. So it seems to do a great job with that. Again, there's the before and after. So I really like that. So that's just a quick little preview of some of the new masking tools in the latest version of Lightroom. If you haven't had a chance to play around with them, give them a try. But that's really it. I just wanted to show you some of the shots from that photo shoot. Thanks for tagging along virtually, and thanks for watching this video. I really appreciate it. If you like it, make sure and hit that like button. Make sure and subscribe to this channel if it's something that will appeal to you. And until next time, I'll see you around. If you're interested in learning more about photography, be sure to head on over to my website, caseychinphotography.com, and look under the Workshops tab. I've got links for online workshops, intermediate and advanced workshops, in-person workshops, and also a workshop interest questionnaire. Let me know what you're interested in learning more about. And when you enroll in one of my workshops, you'll also have access to my Facebook group, Casey Chin Photography Workshops. This Facebook group is designed for participants in my workshops. It's a place where you can share your images, get feedback from myself and others, and build community with other people who are passionate about and interested in photography.